Mr. Thompson, just a quick bite on the Africa Education Watch.
Yes.
And their call.
I think that it's a call in the right direction. There have been even much more important call, because before we think about education, we must think of habitation. There's been a much bigger call for government to relocate these people to the Saglemi housing project, which is fading away. Government could spend a little resources in putting the place in order. The facilities that can be habitable, or be put into habitable use, can be worked on immediately. And then, temporary structures such as tents and, camp structures could be erected, within the premises, also to provide shelter. Then temporary structures could be converted into, some form of educational facility for them. Or we could utilize the recommendations that the African Education Watch is also putting out, which is very, very critical, because the children must not lose valuable teaching and learning hours because of these crises. Because at the end of the day, they are going to end up writing the same exam, they're going to be held to the same level of education accountability as their colleagues in the urban areas. And for me, for government to sit down, for CSOs and other people to be making such recommendations, for me, it's a dent, in the image of the government. We pay a government to think. That's it. That's the purpose of a government. You see, and sometimes, my brother, it hurts that we pay people so much to think, but they don't think. How difficult is it that people in CSOs, well-meaning Ghanaians, journalists can sit down, look at the crisis, and come up with some of these very, very critical recommendations.
Right.
Yet the people who were being paid with our taxes cannot think.
Well, to be fair, government is dealing with a lot more than one situation.
You see, but
right?
government is not dealing, all government is not dealing with everything. Government comprises of various sectors. We have the Minister of Education, the Ministry of Education, the Ghana Education Service, and its subsidiaries. We have the Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service, and its subsidiaries. We have the Ministry of Local Government, the Local Government Services, and its subsidiaries.
Yeah.
All these are different agencies, and that is why we have them to be dealing with certain areas.
Yeah.
And so if you saw the Interministerial Committee to deal with the crisis, which the government put together, you saw that the Ministry of Information is there, the Ministry of Local Government is there, the Ministry of Health is there, the Ministry of Education is there. And so you expect that some of these individuals will bring their thinking cap on the table. Please, it doesn't cost to think. Please, the head on your head, the purpose of it is for you to use it to think and solve problems. Please, solve problems. We are tired of the excuses. We are tired of the narrations. We are tired of the talk shops. And even when people think for them, implementation also becomes a problem. You can't think. When somebody thinks for you and bring you the solutions to implement it to become a problem.
Okay.
So you people, what do you want us to do now?
All right. Okay.
Should we shut down the government?
It's okay. You will let.
So just a quick add
Yes.
to
Okay.
what Thompson is
Quickly.
saying.
Yeah.
One, legal issues. I believe that the victims, can seek legal redress because this was avoidable on the part of VRA. And in future, I think that VRA should also collaborate with the Ministry of Information to disseminate some of this information and then engage these communities prior to any of these happenings.
You know what must happen? I think that the people must be put together to bring a class action against VRA.
That's what I just
But
because VRA was very, very negligent in this pillage.
But VRA has released,
negligent and reckless.
VRA has released an Akosombo spill management chronology that breaks down their engagement with the community since 2010 about the potential spillages that would happen, and they've been doing regularly. And as recently as May 2023. He said, I'm not going to go into detail because it's a lot, okay? In line with VRA's emergency preparedness plan which means they have something in place like that. Spill management simulation exercise Daunhoso 2023. So it's called, the simulation is called exercise Daunhoso, and it was carried out in several districts, including Mepe, Sujaman, Adan East, and North Tong. Okay, this is May 2023.
Kwaku.
So it looks like there's already...
Kwaku.
Yes,
Kwaku.
yes, yes.
I agree that there is that plan.
Yes.
You see, it is one thing having a plan, and it is one thing implementing the plan.
Yeah, but he said that they were doing simulations.
In May. You did a simulation in May. You went to sleep.
And no, they said in September 8th, they were the key EPP identified key, stakeholders were notified of potential spilling in the coming days. Then September 12th was the release. That's the one you referred to.
You see, sometimes I just wish when these issues are here like this, you bring somebody from VRA to be sitting here, so we can drill the person. See, this is just ridiculous. If you read this statement, it's just ridiculous.
Okay.
You did a simulation.
Yes.
You did a simulation in May.
Yes. And then they gave updates.
So
in September.
because you've done a simulation in May.
Yes.
And you've given an update in September.
It's called exercise down.
And so you have to and so you can wake up and open the floodgate without any warning.
No, it's not that without any warning. I mean, on September 8th they gave a warning. Then on September 12th they did a press release. Then on September 12th, it says all EPP protocols were activated and notifications were sent directly to EPP responders and stakeholders on commencement of spilling from September 15th.
I am a driver.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I've been going through DVRA trainings.
Yes.
I've been given a license. Constantly, when they gave me a license, DVLA gave me a handbook. Yeah. Which provide the road traffic
highway code.
Yes, and I've been reading it. Yes, right? And so I can wake up one day and drive through and go and knock somebody down. Right? Because, we gave him all the regulations. The point is that providing handbook, regulations, manuals, and what have you, it's not a substitute for proactiveness. It's not a substitute. For you to implement an evacuation plan. So they've given you a manual for a training manual. So they should give us a chronology of the evacuation plan. So because you've trained the people and you've told them the dangers of living in those areas, because of that, when you do spillage, you can open the gates anytime, and when there's flooding, you don't go and help the people. Is that what VRA is saying?
Thompson, you see, the solution to this, I believe University of Ghana engineers have submitted a proposal. It is time for government to take a second look at spillage in this country, especially with the dams. Now, I did mention that the VRA, together with the Ministry of Information, must come together to continue that sort of engagement that they need to have with these people in the communities. All right. If the engagements were more, if it had been intensified as it ought to, I don't think that the level of devastation that we are seeing would have been what we should have, if indeed they had intensified their campaign. All right. And so I am advocating that in the future, VRA should engage the Ministry of Information so that they go to these communities. They have the vans and what have you to go around disseminating this information and then having this community engagement with the people. Secondly, with regards to the education, yes, I'm wrapping up. All I want is for government to be a lot more proactive. I mean, I've said over time that as a country we have been more or less reactive than being preventive. And so if we had prevented some of these things, I don't think that we would be where we are now. So government ought to do more, especially with the pupils' education. They need to go down there, institutes deploy e-learning platforms for the children to start, or have temporary structures erected so that we can have them seated and then these teachers can go in there and have some form of engagement with them, rather than they losing these teaching hours for the past 3 weeks that they find themselves in this
All right, okay.
issue.
All right, fantastic.